Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful start to your new year. I am back here today to make another custom doll finally. Sorry this video took me a while to get ready and out. The holiday season came around, I got a little busy, and you know, I hate when it's so cold and dark out all day every day. It makes me just so bummed. So recently Monster High had a collab with the girl group Katseye, in which they did the music video and cover of the Monster High Fright song, and then Monster High gifted each of the girls a one-of-a-kind custom Monster High doll based on their looks from the music video. I would be showing you clips of the music video right now, but I don't want this video to get copyrighted, so I hope you enjoy the random stock footage of fish. The doll I'm choosing to make for today's video is going to be Manon, and she was turned into a sea monster for the music video, so that's kind of why I'm going with the fish vibe for the background here. I really wish I had the power to make all of them in this video, but I mean, I just am not able to do that. So without further ado, let's get started on making Manon. The base I'm using for this custom is going to be a Monster High G3 Laguna Blue doll. In the official one-of-a-kind custom, they use a G3 Venus head, but I'm just going to be using the Laguna for this. I got some bittersweet braids and bittersweet 10mm curls from Shimmerlocks. I will have their shop linked below if you'd like to buy any doll hair from them. I'm not affiliated or anything, I just love their hair. Then I move on to my usual process for removing the head from the body and then removing all of the extra plugs out of the inside of the head with some needle nose pliers. And for this doll, I'm actually going to be taking off all of the factory paint with acetone before I do the reroot. It doesn't really matter what order you do this in. I usually just keep the face on because I like to see how the screening, like the factory screening, looks with new hair. But for this doll, I'm actually going to be filling all of the holes in the head with some air dry clay. I was using Delightful's wonderful customizing video as a reference for this, and I don't know if the clay I used was just not the right clay, but it did not want to work with me. But I got to a point where I was satisfied with the results eventually. It just took a lot of trial and error. So right now I'm painting her scalp to match her skin tone. Later on I'll be painting the face as well. I just didn't want to risk the face paint cracking at all, so if it cracks on the scalp it's not too much of an issue. And then I'm penciling in where I want her braids to lay. I'm trying to reference Manon's actual look as best as I can. I don't know if I want to fully fill everything with braids because that's not how hers looks, but the braids I have, I don't even know if I like how thick they are compared to the size of this doll's head, but I'm hoping for the best. This is my first attempt at giving a doll cornrows, so I really wanted to make it look nice, and this is also a half up, half down look, so that made things a little more tricky trying to figure out where I wanted the curly hair to start and the braids to end. But you can kind of see where the holes are at on the back of the head that I didn't fill in with the air dry clay. That's where I'll be rerooting with curls later. So off camera, I finished sketching all the tracks for the braids, and now I'm going to go over them with some acrylic paint. This paint will appear darker once it's completely dry, which is good because then it will better match the actual hair color that I'm using. So because these braids are quite long, I actually cut them in half. That way I'm not wasting any hair because I don't need the hair to be super long for this. And then I can possibly use these on a future project. So then I'm just rooting the braids into where I think they line up with the painted hair that I have on the scalp. And then just rooting it in like that, and then we have the full head of hair eventually. There was plenty of chipping in the paint, which I expected, but I will be sure to patch that up later. So now we can move into rooting the 10mm curls, and this is looking very voluminous right now, but I'm going to brush through it later. And so now I'm moving on to repainting the face and body to match her skin tone. to the best of my ability. This is the same technique I use anytime I repaint the bodies. I use thin, watered down layers of acrylic paint, wait for that to dry, and then go in with another layer because you don't want to paint over top of wet paint. It'll just kind of like pull the paint off and then it'll be a whole mess, and it's very annoying to deal with. I've had to do it plenty of times. Before adding a layer of Mr. Super Clear, I'm going in with some watercolor pencils to add in some baby hairs. I was really excited to add this detail because it's not featured on the doll that they made, but in the music video she has like pearl details on her baby hairs, so I was excited to do that because I already have like the perfect size flat back pearls that I've used on other projects. After I was done sketching all the baby hairs, I decided to go and sketch her eye shape as well, just because it's still pretty easy for me to just sketch on to acrylic paint with my watercolor pencils. After this, I will though add a spray of Mr. Super Clear, which also is really great for hiding brush strokes, funny enough. So you can see a lot of brush strokes on her face here from when I did the skin tone, and those kind of go away for the most part once I add the Mr. Super Clear. So for this face up, I wanted to keep it in the Monster High art style, so kind of a factory face up, but still having Manon's features. So I'm trying to make the eye shape and the eyelashes and the lip shape all kind of match, and especially the eyebrows. That is an important part, I think, of her features because she has very straight brows. I decided to just go ahead and paint over the baby hairs that I sketched on earlier while I'm here before I go ahead and give her her first spray of Mr. Super Clear. And like always, I wrap the hair to keep it protected from the Mr. Super Clear, and once that is dry, I bring her back inside to paint on her face with acrylic paint, starting off with the eyebrows. As an extra little added detail, I like to go in with thin brush strokes of her skin tone in the eyebrows just to separate the hairs a little bit. And then after I'm done with the eyebrows, I'm going to go in with my white acrylic paint and paint the scleras of her eyes. And then I move into my black acrylic paint for her eyeliner and eyelashes. And then I go in with what I try to keep a very thin line to outline her irises in black as well. Once that's dry, I go in with my dark brown acrylic paint to paint her irises. And before I paint the rest of her eyes, I wanted to go in with her lipstick shade. Her lipstick on the doll that was made, I don't think perfectly matches the shade of lipstick that she has in the music video, but it's also a bit of like an ombre lip, so that tends to be trickier to replicate when it comes to dolls in this small of a scale. But I'm trying my best to color match the exact lip shade. It was a bit of a tricky color though. It's like a mix of two shades of pink that I was trying to ombre into each other, but you'll see, I tried. I added a little bit of highlight into her eyes, and now I'm going back in with my black acrylic paint to paint her pupils. I think the really light brown adds a little bit of depth into the irises that wasn't there before, and I like it a lot. I also added some paint to highlight the inner corners of her eyes for when I add the rest of her eyeshadow later, just because that matches her makeup look. I will say that the one detail that I didn't add that Manon actually has is her nose ring. I just couldn't come up with an idea on how to make a nose ring in such a small scale, and I thought it would be like so tiny you wouldn't even really be able to notice it, so I just opted out of adding that. And with her highlights added into her eyes, that's pretty much it for the acrylic paints on her face. I did still add some chalk pastels for a little bit of contour and her eyeshadow. It kind of looks like I'm adding a lot of chalk pastel here, but once you spray with Mr. Super Clear, it really gets rid of a lot of the pigment and opacity that you've added, so I like to add a little more than I think I need. I also wanted to go ahead and add a little bit of blush with the chalk pastel because it does appear that she has blush in her makeup look, and I think this really helped with adding more detail to the face because I feel like the makeup look was a little simple just compared to some of the crazier faces I've painted before, but I liked doing this face a lot. And then, because I think it was very fitting for this doll to have some shimmery, glittery effects, I added a lot of shimmery powder onto her face. I don't know why I tried to use this fan brush to like control where it was gonna end up. Usually when I use this shimmer powder, it just goes wherever it wants to. So I kind of just eventually gave up on trying to be precise about it and just dusted it over the face. And now I can go ahead and get started on adding the pearl details to her baby hairs. I'm just adding a very tiny dot of Elmer's glue all, I believe is what I used, and then with like a dotting tool, like the ones that you do like the diamond dot paintings, they have like the little wax nub on the end. I'm picking up the little pearl beads with those and then just placing them sporadically wherever I think looks good. You may notice that I didn't repaint the lower torso on this doll, and that is because she's going to be wearing a like bodysuit that is completely covering that area, and I didn't want to risk getting a bunch of paint on it or just like why paint an area that's going to be hidden by the doll's clothing anyway? I don't know. Some people may prefer if you repaint the entire body, but this doll is not going to be wearing a removable outfit, so that's why I decided to just not paint that part, because it's not going to be seen. And now I'm able to go in with my silver metallic acrylic paint and paint the details onto her ears, because I think I had the ears covered up with the fabric before. I can't remember why I didn't do this earlier, but it's just easier now that I don't have the fabric in the way. So once this is done, I can get started on making her outfit. Now let me just say that her outfit is not 100% accurate to how it looks in the music video, and that is because in the music video she has a bunch of safety pins covering this outfit, which I just have no idea how to make in this tiny of a scale and cover the entire outfit without getting super bulky. So I sewed a bodysuit swimsuit out of this silver metallic fabric, and I will leave a link in the description for the pattern I used for that. And now I'm just taking some white ribbon and adding like this boning structure. I'm not sure what it is that she has on top of the bodysuit, and this is like safety pinned together. The safety pins would be putting this onto there, but we're not doing that. We're using glue. At one point I considered cutting up wire and using that as safety pins, but I just thought it would end up looking really bulky and messy, and so I opted to just simplify the design for this doll because I didn't want to risk it looking like a hot mess. Once those boning structural ribbon pieces were glued onto the bodysuit, I added this like seashell bralette on top of that as well. This was all using fabrics that I had at home, so that was nice. And here I am beading some necklaces and other details that'll be sewn on to the outfit later. This is also using beads that I already had from the Corpse Bride video. If you haven't watched that customization doll video, it is one of my recent customs if you'd like to check it out. It's on my channel. I also sewed some beads directly into the top of her outfit to add as like dangly details that she does have in the music video, so I thought that was fun. I also added a gold chain to go around the cover-up of her bathing suit, and then I added some other details to it later. For her legs, she does have like the silver gills and things. I'm just using a sponge in my silver metallic paint and trying to like sponge that onto her legs in multiple layers to add more opacity, but I wanted to kind of give it like an ombre effect like how Laguna's legs are. And now for her shoes. Let me go into a little spiel about these shoes. I wanted them to be accurate to the ones that were used on the one-of-a-kind doll, and the only G3 Laguna that has these shoes is the Snack Shack Laguna that comes with the playset. There's no other Laguna. So I was like scouring the internet to try and find this Laguna because I don't have one in my personal collection, and she's not available in stores anymore, at least not at my Walmart. And the only ones I can find were new in box, so I ended up buying one of these new in box. I couldn't find just the Laguna separated or just the shoes and like a lot of G3 clothing, which doesn't surprise me for the playset ones. That tends to happen, but I did get the shoes, so that's moral of the story is just go with what you got, honestly. Who cares if they're that accurate? Making this doll came with some challenges, but in the end, I'm super happy with how she turned out, and I really love the end product. Honestly, now I'm kind of thinking I should make some more of the Katseye dolls. If I were to make another one though, who should I make? That is the big question. As always, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my Patreon members. If you want to join the Patreon, the link is in the description. Patreon members get early access to videos like this one that you're seeing right now, as well as early access to purchasing any dolls available in my shop, like this one. This doll was available early for Patreon members and is still available in my shop if she has not already been purchased. I'd like to apologize for how long this video took for me to get finished and up and ready for everyone to watch, but thank you so much for watching nonetheless. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one, as I do have more custom dolls planned for the future. And yeah, hope to see you in the next video. Bye!